foot patch just because
Oh yeah,
you're worried?
That's half of it.
Sorry.
And the rest of it in the bedroom.
Are senior citizens in Paterson improperly getting the boot from a new developer? Well, some residents at Colt Arms just may be.
Well, right now, they're saying that with the money we make, we are not qualified to live in this apartment.
Now, that was 70-year-old Wade Garris, who has lived in the building for 4 years. He lives off of his Social Security check as well as a small income from his wife, which combined puts them over the limit for government assistance. So why all of a sudden this change? Well, last year a new company bought the senior complex under a federal housing and urban development program. That includes tax credits for the developer if they agree to rehabilitate the property. Now, that program sets income limits for the people living in the building, but according to HUD, if a tenant has lived there in the building, then they can stay even after the building's ownership changes. But the residents that I spoke to when I was visiting Colt Arms are completely confused. I sat with Wade and two other residents, Al and Sarah, who told me that they received this letter last month from the owners of Colt Arms Preservation Urban Renewal. It's a collaboration with Hudson Valley Property Group. And look on there, you can see that they agreed to move out, which they have not. Now, Al told me that when the new owners took over last year, their rent went up. And they thought, you know, hey, we can barely afford it, but we'll pay it, and they would be able to stay. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case with this letter.
If we pay the $1,272, that we can stay here. But now they're gonna change it this year. They changed it and said, no, we still want you out.
Now, this letter also offered $3,000 cash bonus if they agreed to sign it, and that they would not disclose to others the existence or terms of the agreement. Now, Sarah and Al's letter stated that they need to be out by June 15th. Now she says that management is calling her every morning, asking her when she's going to move out.
Do you feel like you're being harassed?
I do. Every time the phone rang.
Now, they took me up to their apartment and they showed me these improvements that are being made by the developer. There's a new kitchen and there's new floors. She has everything packed on the side of the room just in case they tell them to get out. Now, I spoke with attorney Greg DeBold. He's an expert in landlord-tenant law.
It's also unusual that this letter indicates that the individual involved makes too much money to be a tenant in a tax credit apartment.
DeBold said, generally speaking, someone who doesn't qualify for federal assistance just has to pay market rent.
I don't know of any provision in any HUD program that allows the removal of tenants who are already residents.
But everyone that I spoke to at the building believed that they had to move out.
Like my wife told me, just put us on out in the street then.
This is not an individual case. I went and spoke with Councilman Michael Jackson, who told me he has also met with 25 residents.
Our initial meeting, there was over 25 residents, and those are just the residents, not including their spouses. I know about one family that has been displaced already, and you're talking about a population that's over 65.
Now, I contacted HUD. HUD explained to me that there are rather stringent tenant protections built into the rental assistance program that this building is under, including the right to remain or return, and that because in most cases the buildings are being rehabilitated, that if tenants do need to move out for a certain period of time, they're absolutely allowed to return. And here's the other part: the owner cannot employ any tactics to pressure residents into relinquishing their right to return or accept permanent relocation assistance and payments. Now, HUD told me after we contacted them, they're looking into this now. Hudson Valley Property Group actually returned with a statement, and they said several residents have voluntarily left, and we've provided them with relocation expenses and reimbursement. No one is being forced out of the residence. If they want to stay, they can stay. But for now, it looks like our seniors can stay.